Hey guys, it's Tim Shermack, and welcome back to another episode of the Platform Marketing Show. I'm joined today by Stacy Springer from Columbia area, Tennessee. Stacy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So I should say welcome back because it's actually your second appearance on the Platform Marketing Show. I think we first recorded an episode maybe a year ago, something like that. It was actually probably longer.
Probably a little over a year. Yeah.
Yeah, and at that point, you had been with Platform, I think, for about a year. You were on pace to have like doubled your business at that point. Your business has grown even more now a year later. This year, I know you're on pace to hit hopefully 12 million or more if a couple things go your way. I know that like many agents, you picked up a lot of listings this year and they're starting to sit because the market just
Yes.
isn't moving the way we want it to. Interest rates at the time we're recording this episode, I don't know when someone's going to listen to this in the future, but interest rates are still high. The Fed has not started cutting yet. So, listings are still sitting, but that'll probably start changing over the next couple months as the Fed is expected to.
We sure hope so.
Yeah, to start cutting. But regardless of all that, you're having a really good year. You have a couple really cool recent success stories to share. And that's what I kind of wanted to do, like a mini podcast episode today, where we dive into one very specific case study or story that you had recently of how you developed a relationship with a local builder, how that relationship came to be, how you kind of leveraged the platform marketing strategy to create that relationship and nurture and cultivate that relationship, and kind of how that's changed your business. Because I know that one thing you didn't necessarily have before platform, or at least had consistently, was like those multi-million-dollar deals. And I know already this year you've done several multi-million-dollar either purchases or listings. I think you said you recently closed one that was 2.3 million.
Yeah, and got both sides of that one.
Yeah, so I mean both sides.
My husband is out here with a chainsaw. Do you hear that?
Go Mark, go.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can.
Let me tell him to stop.
All right, so while she texts Mark to, hey, knock it off with the chainsaw, I'm going to give some context here. I was hanging out at their house in Tennessee a couple months ago, and because I was in town speaking at a conference in the Nashville area, and she gave me like a tour of their property. And how many acres do you have, Stacy?
We have 64.
So 64 acres. And I was like, wow, this is a really cool property. You basically like dammed up your own like lake.
Right.
And just in the rolling hills of Tennessee, like the really, really pretty part of Tennessee. So it's this epic house, and they've done all this custom work to kind of customize their house. And then we I remember we had a barbecue for lunch, and you're showing me around the property, and you just kind of casually, Mark's like, hey, check this out. And I walk into this door off of your kitchen, and I'm expecting it just to be like, I don't know, your office or something. And it's like a full like wood floor basketball gym with like a legit basketball hoop that like comes down from the ceiling, like the kind you'd see in like a high school gym. So I'm not talking about, it's not like a barn where they just have a $300 basketball hoop from Walmart, with the sandbags beneath it or something. It's like a legit.
Yeah, Mark and I both were college basketball players, so, and all of our kids played, and so we're big basketball lovers. So anyway,
they have like a legit
basketball.
Kind. They have like a legit basketball court in their house that has like a wood floor and everything. So I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Remember, Mark painted that floor. It looks like wood, but it's actually painted concrete. Remember?
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So one of his many things, which is what he's doing out here today, he's building a retaining wall. Yeah, that was a painted concrete floor.
Because I hung out with you guys for that day, and I shot hoops in your basketball court for like 20 minutes. And I was just like, this is crazy, because this is an indoor basketball court in the middle of this like 60-acre property.
And Mark pretty much does it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have a super cool property. They have a home theater in their basement, and I watched A Band of Brothers with Stacy's husband, Mark, down there, and it's just blasting surround sound with this like legit home theater in the basement. Good time. So it does not surprise me at all now that I've, met Mark and toured the property.
Right.
As soon as you start doing
fires up the chainsaw.
Yeah, that
I'm
he's
so sorry.
and just cutting down trees or whatever Mark's doing. He's probably creating a new dam for some river that goes through your property. Yeah. So you had created this relationship with this company called Summertown Metals.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to dive into. We were just kind of making the point that, hey, you recently double ended a $2.3 million deal. So I'd imagine that's one of your largest commission checks ever, if not,
It
the
was.
largest.
That was pretty life-changing for us.
Yeah, and all this is coming in a pretty slow year for most real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
So you've really seen the power of platform at play, because I know that you can kind of point to a lot of these larger deals, and you know that
Yes.
part of the reason they're working with you or heard of you in the first place is they saw your marketing.
Mm-hmm. On that particular deal, it was the Tennessee Fitness Spa, which was a private fitness spa that had been here for years. So I was in contention with a couple other realtors. And ironically, when you asked me to be on the podcast, I had to call the seller and say, "How did you hear about me again?" And it was a referral from a couple other friends of hers that had seen my videos. So you can trace back,
Yeah. Yep.
the fuzzy stuff. And
Yeah, that's what we call it platform all the time, fuzzy ROI, because had you not asked that, you would actually never know where that lead came from. And
mm-mm,
you almost still didn't know, because they're like, I don't know, I was a referral from this person, but they had heard of you from seeing your videos constantly. And so it's like that indirect effect of someone who knows someone who saw your social media ads refers
right,
you.
right. That's absolutely the beauty of platform.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about this platform marketing strategy and this concept we talk about of fuzzy ROI. It's kind of hard to measure the ROI. It's fuzzy, it's not clean, it's not clear. And I think it's actually a competitive advantage, because
Mm-hmm.
if it were really, really easy to just copy and paste ads and know exactly this buyer came from this ad or this listing I got from this ad, it'd be super easy for other agents to replicate what you're doing. But
Right.
because of how complex the marketing is and the retargeting and people in your sphere seeing this retargeting ad and telling a friend, it's kind of just organic how it happens. It's very difficult for other agents to replicate. So anyways, tell me about the story of how this relationship with this builder in your area came to be, and kind of how you leveraged your marketing really, A, to create that relationship in the first place, but B, to kind of create value in that relationship.
Right. So we knew of Summertown Metals because we live in a barn dominium, and we bought most of our supplies for the new edition from Summertown Metals. But
And just for those listening who are not familiar with the concept barn dominium, can you explain what that is for all the city slickers out there?
oh wow, yeah. So a barn dominium is basically there's a couple different ways to do it, but it's a real non-traditional build where they come out and erect more like a pole barn style. You can also get it stick built too through Summertown Metals, but basically it's more of like a kit, and then the inside is customized to your liking. But they're usually open floor plans, concrete foundations, metal on the exterior, but you can get other things. They've just kind of morphed into more like traditional styles. But yeah, I wish I knew more. I live
No,
in
I
one,
mean,
but they're just really a lot cheaper. Cheaper is the word.
more
Get
more affordable.
more affordable. Yes, more affordable. And they last a long time because usually the exterior's metal, the roofs are metal.
Yeah. What actually is the, if you were to pull an average, because I know there's a huge variance with these, because it totally depends on how crazy you go with how you finish the
Right.
interiors, but is there an average of, hey, if a normal new build that was the same amount of square feet was 500,000, what would a comparable barn dominium style new build be?
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm not real sure on that, Tim. I would say I know the average, like per square foot here, is probably around 200 a square foot now here in Summertown. We're
Okay.
selling most homes that are on the market around $200 a square foot. And I'm pretty
Okay.
sure you could get in a barn dominium for 130 to 150 a square foot.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So it
yeah,
could be, let's just say, again, every situation is different, but potentially 25% cheaper
I would say so.
than a comparable house.
I was going to say 20 to 30.
Yeah, and the shell of the house is really strong because it's built out of obviously metal. So
Right. Right. Yeah. If you haven't seen barndominiums, you should check them out.
yeah, it actually they are really cool. They're very popular in more rural areas.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, you just have absolutely no idea what in the hell we're talking about. Go on Google and just search barn dominiums, and you'll see a bunch of really cool examples.
Yes.
So it is honestly a cool alternative if someone wants to build brand new, but they maybe don't have the money to go the normal route. You can do some pretty cool things with barn dominiums. So sorry I cut you off, but I just wanted to explain that for those who had no idea what you were talking about. So
Yes.
it's a custom barn dominium builder in Tennessee.
Yes. One of the top ones. So, um, I guess it all started with my God Made a Realtor video because I wanted to showcase them as one of the businesses. And because I just kind of like what they represented. We watched them, that's where I was. We watched them go from like 15 years ago when we bought this farm, go from a one room, two or three of the guys, it was the dad and a couple brothers operating this business out of a one room shop. And we've watched them grow to multiple offices across the South. And anyway, so I went out there and I shot my video for God Made.
And for those again who don't know what she's talking about, there's kind of a video script we use at Platform. If you're a Platform client, we call it the "So God Made a Small Business Owner," and we basically borrowed this really really famous speech from Paul Harvey. And it originally, I think it came out in the 80s, was like, "So God made a farmer." And we just entirely rewrote this speech about "So God made a farmer." And instead, we rewrote it to be about just small business owners in general and kind of the value they provide to the community. So it's really just a small business tribute video for all
Mm-hmm.
the small businesses in your community. It's really not an ad for you as the realtor at all. It's all about the businesses in your community.
Right. I think I said God Made a Realtor. It was God Made a Small Business
Yeah,
Owner.
yeah, yeah. And they just happen to be one of the businesses that you featured
Yes.
in that video.
Yes. So after that went out, I can't remember if Matt Stoll, the owner of Summertown Metals, contacted me, or I think actually I saw that he had like over 100,000 followers on his Facebook page. And I told Mark, I was like, we've got to hook up with Summertown Metals. I wasn't sure how,
Yep.
but I just felt like we could help each other in some way. So we scheduled an appointment with Matt. We went out and we talked with him. And the first thing he said was he just loved how we platform showcased his business because it was exactly the way he tries to um, um, showcase his business. Like God, country, family, hard work. So it was just right in line with
Yeah, just the values that you're kind of putting out with your social media
yes. And so he
marketing.
loved that first and foremost. And so that day we just kind of brainstormed on what a business venture or some type of partnership might look like, how we could help him, how he could help us. Obviously, a lot of people that move into barn dominiums, they're like empty nesters. They've had their home, their entire lives. The kids are grown and they want to downsize into something that that's one level, not as much maintenance, and barndominiums are great for that. So I knew if I could get that home, sell it, find them some land, and Matt build a barndo or something like that. But anyway, we set up an appointment with his marketing manager, Aaron, and I think you spoke with Aaron.
Oh, that's right. Yep, yep. I remember that.
Um, because we just weren't sure what that was going to look like. So long story short, we met with Aaron and we set up like 500 a month that he would contribute toward my platform. And in exchange, I would do, ads kind of showcasing Summertown Metals in a way like you guys do. It's hard to explain. I think the first ad that we did for him was Meet Matt Stoll, CEO and owner of Summertown Metals, and it was a question and answer that you had
Yeah, we just
suggested. It was so, it just performed so well. Um, and so, I mean, that's pretty much it. We just, he saw what, the retargeting audience that I had. That was really what,
yep.
I kind of sold them is, I have people that are ready and willing to buy or sell.
You've been like cultivating a list of people over the years that have been clicking on your ads that we know are in the market to buy or sell in the area because they've been clicking on your ads. And so
Right.
don't go out and waste your money, a Summertown Metals blasting out ads to just the average person. Like I have a
Right.
highly curated list of people I already know
And
are interested.
Aaron saw that. So that was real important. And
And he's Aaron. Aaron is their marketing manager.
yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So he cuts me a check every month for $500 that goes toward my platform and my marketing.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that they're helping kick in towards your marketing expenses, but that money you're spending promoting, their models and their company, like you're in a lot of that content too. So,
Yes.
and it's coming from your page. Every time it pops up in someone's newsfeed, it says Stacy Springer, right? So
Yes.
it's not like you're just throwing that money out the window of sponsoring or promoting some other company and there's no benefit to you. Like you are simultaneously building your brand, and it reminds everyone that hey, if you do decide to go this route, make sure you make sure you give a call to Stacy Springer. And so it's just a really cool example where you can have your cake and eat it too, kind of 1+1 = 3.
Right. So with that, Matt and I were able to just build this relationship based upon the ad. And because we kind of represented him so well, in that first ad, he loved it, the question and answer. So he asked me to list a flip house that he had in some of his crews had been working on. He dabbles in all kinds of things. So I listed it, sold it. He already had a realtor. He basically fired his other realtor and got me to sell that one. I listed a $475,000 house that he built in a town nearby, and then I just sold one last week that he had flipped in Pulaski, and then of course the barn dominium story of here in Summertown. So I had so I got that listing through Summertown Metals as well. It was a $500,000 listing. So I was adding up before I got on here, probably like 1.2 million in either I've got listed or I've sold for Matt since
Wow.
this whole
So
business venture started.
yeah,
Just
so again, like not only are they investing $500 a month into marketing with you, it's also created
he's
a
also
huge
paying me
yeah,
to
it's
sell his
also
stuff.
it's also created a huge like deal flow
Mm-hmm.
for you of constant listings. And it all goes back to just you had creative marketing, it caught their attention. They saw this video you did, this small business owner tribute video,
Right.
and they said, hey, like we want a realtor with that kind of creative eye that's doing interesting creative social media ads. That's who we kind of want to partner with. And all of this business has really flowed to you as a
Yeah,
result
and I
of
use
that.
platform on his, which is what set me apart from his ex realtor. The videos and everything I do to, promote his listings and get them moved. And I was able to do that.
That's one of the really cool things about working with a company or a strategy like platform, whether you're formally working with platform or you're just trying to do it on your own, right? It puts you in a very, very powerful position going into a listing appointment that you can actually show all the things that you do differently from other agents. And hey, here's what other agents do. They get a listing, they put a sign in the yard, they probably hire a professional photographer, they upload everything, and then they just wait, and here's what I do. And you can show the stats of the reach and the analytics of all the social media ads that you're running. And it becomes very, very clear that you do way, way more to promote your
Absolutely.
listings than any other agent does. And so you're
Yeah,
actually
you almost
giving
don't
them,
realize it until you're
yeah,
in that situation.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So back to the barn dominium. So I think Matt referred me to the couple that was selling a barn dominium here near me, and I went out for the listing appointment. I got the listing, and then shot the video. And I was sitting at home one day late in the afternoon, and I got a phone call from Wisconsin, and it was a guy that said, "Hey, we just drove by." This barn dominium. We're in town from Wisconsin. We actually have an appointment set up with Summertown Metals tomorrow. We want to move to Tennessee. We were going to talk to them about building us a barn dominium, but we drove by your listing, and he said, I told my wife, hey, there's Stacy. And of course, I don't know this guy. He's from Wisconsin. And I was like, okay. And I said, sure, I can come out and show it, which is rare. I went out there, showed him the home. I got in my car, and he was walking across the yard, and I rolled down my window, and I was joking. I said, "You're wanting to make an offer, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, actually, my wife doesn't want you to leave." So I got both sides of that, and that was all from Platform, because he had Googled pretty much, the top barn dominium builder in this area that he was looking to move in. And scrolling through there, I'm, interjected into Summertime Else. So he knew me before I knew him, and he recognized my face on the sign, and he felt like he already knew me before he even called me. So one of the coolest Platform stories that worked out really well for me.
That's the importance of creating content consistently, and that's like the heart of the Platform strategy right there.
Yes.
Is like leaving what I call a digital paper trail. Like if you want someone to find you and you're leaving a paper trail, right? It's like thinking of what that equivalent is. If you go online, you want to have enough content where if someone Googles, like whatever neighborhood you want to be known in, or whatever city, or or obviously if they Google your name, you want them to find a bunch of content so that it positions you differently from other realtors, where if you Google most realtors, all you're going to find is maybe the sub page from their broker's website and maybe a Zillow profile or something. But if someone Googles Stacy Springer in your area, they're going to find a lot of videos on both Facebook and YouTube, and obviously all the content you've created alongside Summertown Metals and the barn dominiums. And it just becomes very clear within 5
And honestly,
seconds.
I haven't even, I hate to say this, but I haven't had to do a lot for him for that $500, because we're so busy listing his things. He's just so happy with what I'm doing. I mean,
well, and all the ads you're still doing for him are working. It's not like you need to, it's not like you need to create a new one every week for the hell of it, when the ones you're already running are working really well.
That's true. Right. So anyway, that's kind of the story.
Well, like I said, this was going to be a little bit of a shorter, kind of like a mini Platform podcast episode, because I didn't want to, do a whole 90-minute interview with Stacy, as much as I wanted to just have her share this specific story of how much deal flow and sales volume has come from just this one relationship that she cultivated from creating social media content, using the Platform strategy. So all this business and referrals and double ending these multi-million-dollar deals. I mean, everything that Stacy just mentioned came from her originally doing this "So God Made a Small Business Owner" video, because they saw that video and they loved the marketing, and just look at all the downstream effects. In this case, it took more than a year, right? So it's not like all this business came in within a week of you launching that video,
Right.
but the long-term effect of the relationships and the referrals that have come from that marketing, it's almost hard to capture on a spreadsheet how much money you've made from that.
It is. It is. And I know I've had clients that either work for him. I think he has 200 or 300 employees over there now. And again, I'm sure I've had calls and from, all of the employees there and all of the followers just on that page. There's just no way to really track.
The last thing I'll say too is that it's a win-win. So it's not like we're saying, hey, Stacy's making out like a bandit here while this other company invests in her. It's like, no, it's totally win-win, because they are doing a lot more business now because of the marketing that Stacy is doing for for them, and that's what makes the relationship so cool. It's not one-sided where they're just like subsidizing Stacy's budget or something. Like,
Right. Another interesting thing I just thought of, Matt said that day when we first met, he was like, I'm just kind of a little scared of, kind of tying myself to one realtor. And which he's kind of done now. But and I was like, well, I don't really want to tie myself to one builder either. But kind of what he was afraid of just kind of happened.
right, right.
I know he's going to refer me, and he's obviously wanting to work with me. So although he said that, he's still.
Yeah, everyone always says that, and everyone's thinking that, honestly, for very genuine reasons, right? That happens a lot with lenders, is they don't want to be seen as only working with one realtor, because then they won't
Right.
get referrals from other realtors. And it's like, well, okay, how good would you have to be then? Like, how would you have to just over deliver on expectations to become someone's number one a referral source? And again, you've put yourself in a position with your marketing to where, yeah, he doesn't really worry about other realtors anymore, because you are helping him grow his business so much that it clearly is a mutually beneficial marketing partnership. So I just wanted to record this quick podcast episode to remind everyone that sometimes you never know, when you create a piece of content, the relationships and the referrals that could come from this marketing content. So if you're listening to this, you're already working a platform. When your account manager tells you to do a video, do your marketing homework, like get it done, because you really never know the long-term effects of, the deal flow that could happen from just one relationship.
That's true. And I remember being so nervous going in there to ask him, because I think I told you I'm just not sure, what it's all going to look like. But, it all worked itself out. So.
Yeah. And, obviously in hindsight, the greatest part of that relationship for you, that marketing partnership, isn't the $500 a month that they're investing into the marketing partnership. It's all of the referrals that have come from that relationship.
Yes.
Far outweigh that. So awesome. Well, Stacy, thank you for joining us today on the show. This was a really awesome story, and I hope this is inspiring for everyone listening.
Me too.
That sometimes you never know how profitable a referral relationship can be. So always, just keep creating content, because it'll bring in valuable people into your network that sometimes become, priceless. So Stacy, thank you. And I'll see you again in November at the Mastermind.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. See ya.